So people often struggle with sustaining their attention on a critical task. Can you tell us the science behind why this happens?
So, yes, this is the experience. You're sitting, you're trying to work, you've got something important to focus on, and you just can't seem to focus, right? You just keep on, getting distracted by this and that. What's happening is that your brain is a functioning brain. Right? That if that didn't happen, there would be a problem. Because our attention systems are not designed to stay focused. If that was the case, our ancestors just would have been eaten by tigers, right? Our attention systems are designed to pick up on what's changing, to orient to new things, to alert us to what we need to quickly shift our attention to, right? So we don't have a mechanism really for just unlimited sustained focus. When we continue to stay focused, let's say on a movie or something like that, it's because there are continually, again and again, new interesting things to keep shifting our focus onto, right? And they're designed that way very thoughtfully. A great deal of effort goes into making that possible. And now computers and smartphones, they keep on being designed that way, where we've got pop-ups and things that can make it very easy to, grab your attention, and then you can get, started on autopilot again, right? So you get into it, and so it keeps you shifting more frequently than you even need to, like even ahead of what your attention systems are demanding. But so you try to sit and focus, and you shift. Now what happens at that point is the typical thing that most people will do is, well, the first thing most people will do is just yell at themselves and try to berate themselves and say, you've got to stay focused, right? And of course that doesn't do anything. So the next thing is to say, well, let me take a break, right? So I'm going to do something, maybe that's just a little bit fun for me. I'm going to read the tabloids, or I'm going to read the sports, or maybe I'll do something useful like checking email, or who knows, right? So the thing is, all of those tasks, though, involve tracking new information. So there's one problem with those tasks, which is that you're likely to get onto autopilot and lose who knows how much time. All right, it could be really a tremendous waste. Perhaps the bigger problem, though, is that if you do that and you shift to something that feels fun or useful, you're still processing a lot of information. So you actually block something really critical. You block mind wandering. And I know that that might sound odd to say, that's the whole point, right? I'm trying to not mind wander. Right? And you're saying that it's a problem if I block mind wandering. Mind wandering is an opportunity for the brain to do some very important processing. There's a lot of things happening unconsciously. In the non-conscious brain, there's all these bits of information you've taken in, patterns, new connections, right? And we need to find ways to integrate that with what we already know and take advantage of it. And as long as we're continuing to process new information, we don't do that. So when I say mind wandering, I mean really just drifting, right? Like when you're staring out the window. It's actually a little bit different from mindfulness, which is also useful for many things, but mindfulness is about trying to bring your attention back to something. Mind wandering, you're really just wherever it goes, right? You're just drifting. And what's been shown in research on mind wandering, there is research on mind wandering, is that you get quite a number of things that happen that are quite valuable, that can happen in a relatively short amount of time. And I know of almost nothing else that has so many of these benefits all in one place. So for example, there are two different parts of the prefrontal cortex, the more lateral part that we call the executive network, so for deliberate focus on goals and things like that. And then the medial part, the midline, that is critical for thinking about ourselves and others in social contexts, social relationships. They're anti-correlated. So when one's active, the other is less active, vice versa, except when we're mind wandering. Then they're active together and they start to integrate. So it's one of the few times we're integrating our goals and our social needs, right, in that context, which is tremendous for being able to be successful. When we mind wander, we tend to think about planning for the future. That's where minds tend to go. And you might say, well, I ruminate. I feel anxious when I wander. Anxiety is about the future. Right? So, our minds tend to do that. We tend to become more creative. If you give someone a creative challenge and then let them mind wander, they actually perform better in terms of other people rating it as more creative than if they had just worked straight through on it. right? So the mind wandering increases the creativity because there's a number of connections that can occur that would be blocked otherwise, right? So it also helps people find ways to regulate themselves so that they can hold out for the long-term benefit. That's been shown as well. So there's quite a range of things that are very useful for being able to do high-quality work. Another thing that I love about mind wandering is that, let's say you stand up and you do go to the window, right, which is a great way to do it. Anything where you're looking at a device, tracking information, blocks mind wandering, right? But if you just go to the window and you stare out and you're just noticing what's happening, or you can put on music and just notice the music, right, then that helps to facilitate this kind of drifting, this mind wandering. And the thing is, after a few minutes of staring out the window, it gets boring, right? So you have this automatic built-in way to stop. And then you kind of look around, you come back to your work. Not only do you come back probably much faster than you would have otherwise, but when you come back, you're refreshed. And you're able then to focus and do something really valuable, right? So it is a dramatic shift. So this is why I say stop fighting distractions. I don't mean give in to your distractions. What I mean is the fighting part. Stop doing the fighting. When your mind wants to wander, let it.